Hello and welcome to another sitting around chatting to an empty room, unplanned evening of fun. Hi. I'm late. I'm not late. I was just telling people on Instagram to come on over. Thanks for joining us, guys. I'll say from the outset, if you're watching live and it's a bit slow, I am streaming in 4K, so just change your settings down to 1080 and that should make it easier. But hopefully this is all looking nice and crisp. I've been on my seafood channel today doing a test, just fine-tuning the settings. Thanks to John, who was in the chat at that time, to help me out with giving feedback from the other side of the planet. So hi to everyone who's coming into the room. If you have questions for the chat, then throw them in. Otherwise, I'm just getting the hang of this live streaming thing. I don't know that I'm great at it yet, but we're getting through the technical issues. And next step, I want to figure out how I can get guests on live to be able to do a little picture-in-picture or split screen or whatever to chat with other people as well. But we're getting there. It's a miserable day here in New York, which makes it easier to not be going outdoors. It's grey and gloomy and cloudy, and I don't really want to go out even if I could, so here we are. Hi to those in Sonoma County, and John, and Jean, and Paul, and Woody, and Nuno. Hi, everyone. Leave me some feedback if you wouldn't mind. How's it looking? How's it sounding? I am still trying to refine this, so I would appreciate any feedback you have. As I said, I don't really have an agenda for today either. I did bring along some props on the desk in case some questions come up about particular gear. I thought I'll have it handy rather than not being able to make it hands-on in any way. Someone saying, does radioactive lenses affect a mirrorless sensor? I have no idea. Maybe somebody in the chat can give Dennis some feedback on that. I have no idea whatsoever. Great to hear that it's looking and sounding good. Great. If anyone does have other feedback, then please let me know. I'm open. I'm looking for suggestions on how we can make this even better. Aha, Brian. Tonight on Matt Talks to an Empty Room and Has a Glass of Wine, we are having a Marcel Malbec from France. Now, isn't it funny that France are so protective of their appellations and won't let other people call sparkling wine champagne and whatnot? But I understood that Malbec is from Mendoza in Argentina, but the French don't mind using the term themselves. Or maybe I'm wrong and Argentina is the most famous for it, but actually the appellation is still French. Those Frenchmen know what they're doing in that regard. Joseph does a thing. So he's asking what camera I'm using to live stream. Happy to talk you through exactly what I've got set up here. It's been a matter of trial and error, but I don't know that this is the best. I do know that it's probably overkill, at least in terms of some of the pieces that I'm using. But I'll tell you, it's a Sony A9 Mark II with the 24-70 lens with eye autofocus at f2.8. Good thing about that camera, I've got USB-C running in for power, and then I've got HDMI cable out to, I won't show you the actual box because I'll end up disconnecting something, but this is the box. The box comes in the Blackmagic, if I put it right here, it'll stay in focus, Ultra Studio 4K Mini. It's about this big little box that has an LCD on it that shows you your display, and it supports up to 4K 60 frames per second, pretty insane. Then I'm running through that into the Blackmagic's own software to get it all seeing itself, then into OBS, and then, which is OBS Studio, a free streaming software, and then to YouTube, and I'm sending it out at 4K 30 at, I think in the end I set it to 22,000 kilobytes per second. So thank you, Sabash Roy, for the background on Malbec. Good to know. It's one of my favorites. Cheers. I'm glad it's looking good. I realize that for this kind of thing of me just sitting here chatting, 4K really is overkill. And I expect most people will be streaming at 720 or 1080 or something like that. But when this is up in 6 months or 5 years time, and people are using 8K monitors, if it's only up in 720 or 1080, it's going to really be dated. So I would rather stream in the best quality we can, so then it's there for the future. George saying, wow, that's a high data rate. It is, but so we were doing 6,500 for 1080. 4K is 4 times the data. So that would actually bring us up to 26,000, which is what I used in the test today. And it looked great, but I thought just in case, being 7 p.m., all my neighbors go online at the same time and slow down my connection, then I would have it like that. And now this is all running through my 2019 Mac Pro cheese grater, which I have to say, you've probably seen so many videos and unboxings on it. It is true. It's so incredibly quiet. It's under the desk right now. You can barely hear it, even when I have it doing 10 intensive tasks at once. I would forget it's on, except that it does push a fair bit of air with the giant fans, and they are moving a lot of heat out. So when you walk past it, it feels sometimes like a little space heater, but the internals aren't getting hot, just it's moving that out effectively. I'm really impressed. Daniel James, it's only showing 1440, so sorry about that. I don't know how YouTube works. Maybe that's just how it streams. I've got it set to low latency. Maybe that's the most it will stream when I have it set to low latency. That way I can see your comments more frequently. George Garcia, what is your CPU doing? According to OBS, when it's outputting that, at the moment it's doing 12% to do that 30 frames. I don't have a top spec Mac Pro, but it's killing it for the kind of work we do right now. And I have a really cool upgrade video planned that I think is going to be fun, but also useful. Paul, how did you get started in photography? Now this is something that I've talked about in the past, so I won't go into it long term, in a lot of detail, getting ahead of myself, because I know some of the people in the room are really long-term viewers and they would have heard me talk about this so many times. But boiling it down, really long story short, my father is and was a passionate amateur photographer, very good, and so was his mother, passionate and prolific, not the best, but she loved it. And I picked up the bug from them, and to be honest, it was mostly a toy addiction as a kid, that when my grandma would get a new camera, I would get her old one, and I was snapping away since I can remember. And skipping forward, I was lucky to go to a high school that had a full darkroom as part of the art department, so I did photography at high school. Got my first SLR, a Yashica of my own for that, and I was using my dad's old Olympus OM, and shot away again. Still, even at that time, I think I understood all of the mechanics of it, but I wasn't really putting it together until I had done that class. And then I did a degree in politics and economics at Canberra, which completely unrelated, and I enjoyed it in a sense. I enjoyed the challenge of it, but not really that I wanted to work in it. Went and did a second degree in film studies and communications, majoring in cinematography and film studies. And that's where I got back into it from a cinematic point of view, and started, it was actually, I won a People's Choice Award for a travel competition when I was at university, and that kind of gave me a bump in confidence, and I started doing some paid work, went into graduate programs with the government, was doing photography on the side, worked it into my actual job, was able to build it up to a point to move full time. So that was meant to be a long story short, but I think it was still pretty long. Hero shots. You could stream YouTube at 22,000 or 1 million. YouTube only accepts a max of 6,500. I don't think that's true anymore because their suggestion to me was to stream it at 9,500 for 4K. So, and it definitely makes a difference in the picture quality people are seeing if I do it at 8 or at 20. We did the tests. So I don't think maybe the numbers you have are outdated. Hi Cliff, thank you for your feedback. Cliff is in the chat. He picked up my Natural Light Masterclass, which is up on a soft launch just for regular viewers to check out. And the reason we do a soft launch, Cliff solidified for me. He found that a couple of the files had a glitch where there was a black frame where there shouldn't be. So we are fixing that, or I am fixing that. I've already sent out new files to the people who bought the 1080. Cliff, I know you got 4K, and yours will be coming out right after this. I've got the last file about to upload, but I didn't hit upload in case it messed up the stream. So as soon as this is done tonight, I'll be sending out those couple of files to the 4K people. And anyone else who's purchasing, they're already relinked in the back end, so you'll be getting the right ones. A recent movie you liked for cinematography. You know, we're so spoiled these days. For 15 years, I've thought high budget TV was doing as good or a better job in storytelling and cinematography than a lot of cinema. And that Hollywood in particular had some amazing stuff, but generally was quite boring and lazy about it. My focus was on Korean film, and I could see for the kind of budget that people were putting in Korea, you were getting much more visually interesting films and more interesting stories, I felt, different to what you were seeing in Hollywood or Australia. And so I really enjoyed that. And now with Netflix being able to give big budget to things, some of the most interesting visually programs I'm watching are actually TV shows. Even back in the day, I wrote an article for our university magazine that I thought The Sopranos was making 1 hour movies every week for HBO that were better than most movies that were being put out for $100 million by the Hollywood system. So that's a really long story. One that I really liked in terms of cinematography more than anything else, it's not that new now, but was Les Mis, the film that had Hugh Jackman in it, I think. It was kind of mesmerizing how they shot that. Dion Chapman just sent $20. That's so kind. Again, guys, that's really sweet of you, but there's no need for that. And Wolf, thank you. I'm coming in here to chat with you guys, not to get donations, but that's really kind of you. Thank you. I have a, maybe I should bring it over on the desk next time, a little figure. Actually, I will grab it. I'm going to grab it right now. When, a long time ago, before I met my wife, I was at a show somewhere and found these, I think it's soapstone, it's bloody heavy, things that I just bought because I thought they were interesting looking and I didn't know what they meant. I bought 2 of them and I gave one, Kate's looking on. I have a feeling I'm going to be corrected if I say something wrong here, so this is my understanding. Anyway, I bought 2 and I gave one to my father and I kept this one for myself. And it turns out that this one is to bring wealth. It's a Chinese thing. It's a 3-legged toad sitting on a pile of gold and coins. And the one that I had given to my father was it's for longevity, right? It's for good health, or was it the god of war? I think it was a health one. So it's on his desk back at home. So kind of nice, right? I'm not a superstitious or religious person, but you know, I like it as an object anyway, so it must be that he was watching that is inspiring Dion and Wolf to be so generous, right? Right? Must be. Thanks, buddy. You're doing great. Don't you shake your head at me, woman. Dion saying, is Kate Asian? Yes, her family's from Hong Kong. She grew up in Hong Kong. We met at university in Australia 15 years ago. No, 20 years ago. No, 16 years ago. About 16 years ago. Yes, so she's from Hong Kong, but she's an Australian citizen. Let's see, questions. I think you did this live just to find a few friends and talk with us. I'm honored, you know that. Thanks a lot. It is that I want to interact with you guys, and it's partly selfish that it's the best way I know to, get a group of like-minded people who are interested in photography in a room together. I would rather it be a proper two-way conversation rather than me talking at a camera. I'm also kind of bored, and I'm also kind of frustrated that I can't get out there and produce more engaging content. We're still working on it, and I do have some cool things in the works. So this is a way to stay creative, well, not creative, but troubleshooting and working through the process to get all of this working, indulging my tech side, and trying to stay in touch with you guys. I saw yesterday, I think it was, that Companion Bags, it was their birthday. So happy birthday to the team. I've met most of you guys. I never did this with many companies, but now there's two companies that I'm an ambassador for. One is Companion and one is Black Rapid, two products that I have been using and love and think are the best on the market. So there was no conflict for me to have to try and tell you something's great when it's not, which I don't want to be doing. So I thought, if those of you who follow on Instagram, you might have seen a few days ago, I teased what do you is in the bag, and I never gave the answer of what was in my Companion Nano Messenger. So does anyone want to guess before I take a look? Joseph is asking, am I a citizen of America? No, we're not. We're here on a working visa, but I'm a citizen of Australia only. My wife is a citizen of Hong Kong and Australia. Any guesses what might be in here? What's in here? Oh, interesting. Someone thinking that it's underpants. Someone thinking that it's camera gear. Brian, then maybe it's wine. Moshin Ali, I have absolutely no interest in cricket, but thanks for the heads up that it's on Prime. Maybe that's very unusual as an Australian, but I have no interest in it. James Daniel, my digital Hasselblad, I don't have one, so nope. A7R4, nope. This is what I was walking around with when it was still publicly advised to be able to go out and take walks. Sushi, oh, I wish. It is, dun, dun, dun. Well, I tell you, there's 5 things in here. Does anyone want to guess what one of them is? Let me just make sure I get the right one. Anyone? Thomas, you're here. Good. I want to get your suggestions on how I can get more people in. So, it is a Fuji X100 Mark V and a Mark IV and a Mark III and a Mark II and a Mark I. So I got all of them in, thanks to KEH, to be able to do a comparison. They're one of those cameras that has just had gradual refinements between generations, and the first one was already great, but I wanted to see how far was it between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, how they've actually improved over time, and how, if you were going back now, there is a significant price difference between these, which one to go for, and there is more variation between them than you might think, actually. So 5 little, let's call it a Fuji X500, seeing I have 5 100s. You see, I didn't even need a calculator. I just did that maths in my head. What are you doing? No, thanks. No, loser lens cap. This one is set up to have a hood on it, so it takes a different kind of lens cap. So it's not lost, and it's in the bag along with a blower and wipes, so we're all good there. So let's pop those slightly out of shot. Is that out of shot? I think so. Review that small backpack from Companion. Which one do you mean, William? Let me know. I'll try. See, here's a difficult thing, and this is something that I have ingrained in me, but it's not necessarily right. It's just my way of thinking. I think that if I'm being paid or have too close of a relationship to be impartial with a company, I can't call something a review in good confidence. So being an ambassador for Companion, I don't think I can review their products. When it really frustrates me, actually, when I did a video on it's incidental which brand, it doesn't really matter, but it happened to be an Olympus camera. I had so many people write in saying, "You're full of shit, how can you say that? Look at this person. They've all said the feature that you criticized is fantastic." And everyone that they had sent me was an ambassador. And I'm fortunate that neither Companion or Black Rapid have some clause in the agreement that I can't say anything negative, but most of those kind of agreements do. And yeah, so for me, if it's going to be a review, it can't be paid. It can't be where I don't feel free to speak my mind, and it needs to be impartial. If it's sponsored or someone where I have a really close relationship, I would call it like a first look or something, and then I would disclose that. Yeah. Do you do heavy Photoshop or Lightroom editing, Tiki? I don't. I think I'm probably one of the lightest editors out there. Most of the shots I share have 30 seconds, 1 or 2 minutes worth of editing. Not to diss it, but I think photo editing and digital artistry is a skill set. Photography is a different skill set, and I don't really see the point in sharing images that are meant to inspire my audience for photography that are so edited they don't reflect what was actually in the file or what was happening at the moment at all. So it's not my bag. Generally, unless there's a giant pimple on someone's head, I don't go in and even do specific retouching on skin unless it's for a particular usage. Any recommendations on good filming light for my camera? Well, I'm using 2 LED lights here. They're both actually aperture lights. And the one behind me is a photodiox color adjustable one. Questions. Daniel, you sold the X1D? Yes, I did. I was thinking to get the X1D too, but I never did. So I'm X1D-less. I still have this though. One of my favorite cameras and my only Hasselblad 503CW. Gorgeous. And if they ever brought out a back like the one they recently have, it seems to perform really well. But with a newer sensor, I would potentially get one for this. But that 50 megapixel sensor, it's got to be replaced eventually, right? So let's wait on that. Someone asking about the microphone. What do you mean? Daniel, which aperture lights are you using? It's a Lightstorm 100 and a 300D, I think. One is a big panel of lights, of little LEDs, and the other is a single giant one, and they're both pointed at the ceiling to kind of bounce as if I had a big softbox or a big window over there. I got lost on the comments there. Where are you guys in the world? And what did you do this weekend? Leave me a comment. My name is Herman. I'm from Austria, and I was under lockdown like everyone else, for example. Um, what are you guys having for dinner or had for dinner? I'm still tossing up. If you're on the chat last night, we roasted a chicken and most of that's still left. So I'm thinking it's going to be chicken salad tonight. Young Valor, have you replaced your broken lens? I haven't. One, it's still working, and two, I'm not shooting right now, so I'm not going to run out and replace it when I don't have a need for it anyway. The 300 Mark II, that may be the one I have, Daniel. They're great. It's got a really good output. It's nice and quiet. Aperture, they're making good quality products for, great value and good quality. Paul, do you have a separate studio? Is it all done at your apartment? I guess you could say lucky or unlucky, but either way, it's all the one. We have like a 1-bedroom apartment, and it's one big open area for living area, and then, kitchen, bathroom, bedroom, hallway, that kind of stuff. And what you see is the majority of the living space. So it's all one place, which makes, there's ups and downs to that, challenges and opportunities, but it means right now I have no problem about getting to the studio because it's 10 steps from my bedroom, so that's handy. Eric had baked eggs and sausage with a bottle of red wine, stones and bones. Very good. Now, I apologize. Actually, let me mute my mic whilst I blow my nose, because that's gross. And hopefully I'm back. Oh, Dion is rebuilding the engine for his Camaro. Very cool. Very, very cool. Polaris, how is Steph doing? Let me just check. I actually told her I was going live today to see if she had time to pop in and say hi to you guys. Nope, she hasn't seen my message. She's probably busy. I know they've got a few projects going on. She's fine health-wise, like everyone else got the same restrictions. Jersey, she's living in Jersey now, has restrictions like a curfew, I think. So they're not allowed to be out and about at night at all. So for now, the best we're going to have in terms of filming anything together will be via Skype or something like that. But we chat every day or two. Her man Timmy is still working because he works in pharmacy. And I'm pretty sure Steph is just working from home now, but they're doing well. So is Shravius, so is Jonathan. Thank you to people who've been asking about the team. I chat with them all fairly regularly. They're, apart from being an important part of my team, they're also close friends of mine, so I appreciate you asking about them. BD Place Adventures, do you have any new projects going on? So many that were close to being ready to go live, and now we have more time to plan them, let's put it that way. So it's an interesting time. I am finding there's opportunities to catch up on things. It's good overall. I've probably had more sleep in the last week than I have in any single week other than when I've been hospitalized for something. It's been a very relaxing time. Just fingers crossed. Hey, Steph is in the chat now. There you go. Art School Dropouts is Steph. We were just talking about you, Steph. Guys, don't repeat any of that. That was private, okay? Glad you made it. And if you guys haven't, Art School Dropouts, click the name, go on over to her channel and hit subscribe. They're so close to passing 10,000, but they haven't got there yet. So help them out, please. Very cool. Glad that you're able to make it. I do find it a little much I feel rude to be looking at the screen, but then if I'm looking at you guys, I don't know what's going on in terms of the chat. Brooklyn Frank, hi. Any other questions coming in? We really have to figure out a way. So, do any of the guys, anyone in the room know, Thomas, do you know, how can I get someone else into this stream. So I'm using the Blackmagic 4K thing. It does have multiple inputs. Is there a way I could, for example, have Steph dialing in through her phone on FaceTime or WhatsApp or Skype or whatever, and then bring that in somehow as a stream into YouTube or OBS or wherever, and then be able to do a picture-in-picture or a split screen so that we could have a proper conversation going on here, still in high quality? That would be cool. So Skybear is saying Zoom, but I still want it to end up being here on YouTube so we can have it interactive rather than just the two of us chatting. I know how to just chat with someone and record it, but I don't know if Zoom will then let me put it here on YouTube for you guys live. Should I get an Atomos Ninja V in 2020? I don't know, sorry. I don't know the Atomos lineup that well. We had one of the Atomos, it was, I forget the model, the one that's just a display, not a recorder. We had that for our filming in Las Vegas, and it was really, really helpful. Jonathan found it great for, we were filming natural light, right? And we're in the desert, so it was bright, intense light. So having that external display was really helpful. Okay, so Skybear is saying maybe Zoom is the way to go. Okay, Thomas or Skybear or both of you, please send me an email via the website if you don't mind having a chat offline about how to do all of this, because I think it would be cool. I've got some, I think, really interesting interviews coming that'll be recorded and then put onto YouTube as early as next week, the first one. But it would be really cool to be able to do some live things and then to just bring someone in as a little surprise in the middle of the chat. So Steph, everyone was asking, how are you? Let us know as a comment, how are you doing? How's Timmy? How's the team? I hope Joey's well. And Thomas, by the way, I did see that you followed on, you told me that you followed on Twitter if I wanted to get in touch. Sorry, I'm such a grandpa. I don't really use Twitter. I finally worked out what my login was so that I can now see it. But I don't even really know how to find you, let alone leave a message. I'm still an email guy, sorry. What cheese with the wine? I'm not a big cheese guy, but we do have some cheese here at the moment, but just cheddar. So I don't know that that's really the right kind of thing. Yeah, Red Mango, the wine is a very cheap 2018 Malbec from France. But it has a cool, fun label, which is probably why I got it, and because it was reasonably priced. Tiki Mick. That's a really interesting name, and I like your black and white thumbnail. Hi. Oh, and from the Philippines, Mabuhay. Hope you're well. Thomas, my contact page is shitty. Sorry. Let's get in touch. We'll figure it out, huh? Yeah, I was writing to my friend who helps with the website today about that the contact page has been unreliable, and it seems I'm not getting a lot of the emails, so I apologize that you got in touch. I really do appreciate you trying to help with this. Tiki Mick, when did you start teaching photography, and do you advise teaching as a career path? So, funny thing, I was doing this YouTube channel for years and started to run workshops before it occurred to me, oh wait, I'm kind of a teacher at this point, because my mum's a teacher, both my aunts, one of my uncles, so many of my family are teachers in a more traditional sense, like they worked at schools, they were principals. My mum's a literacy and numeracy teacher. So yeah, it took a little while. I actually worked in adult kind of social welfare, supporting adults with mental and physical disabilities. In a sense, that was more training than teaching, but yeah, it's I enjoy it. It's actually really cool, especially at a workshop, when you see someone not getting it, and the moment the penny drops and they understand the principle and they see why this causes that, it's actually a really satisfying thing. So yeah, it's cool. I have to say, and you know, a lot of people who I'm sure you've heard the quote, "Those who can't do teach." I'm sure that has a lot of application, and there's, you know, I haven't got the chops of a lot of working photographers. The reverse is also true, that not all that can do can teach. So I think it's a different skill set. You need to know what it is you're teaching, but knowing how to teach is a different skill than necessarily knowing how to. No, you still need to know how to do the thing. But for example, if you're a commercial photographer, then there's a whole business around that that's beyond the taking the picture. That, you know, to be successful in that kind of photography, you need to master all of that. To be successful in teaching commercial photography, you need a different set of skills. There's overlap, but it's a different set. Steph, don't give away my idea. So, well, it's already there as a comment now. I have suggested to Steph we do a long distance photo shoot, but let's keep the details on the DL, and we'll get to that one. I'm thinking maybe from here to New Jersey, maybe a 6,000mm lens. We should be able to figure something out as long as I get a high enough vantage point. Cheers, Cliff. Enjoy your Zinfandel. Red Mango. Sean Vine, hi from Connecticut. Hi. Sorry, there's been so many comments go past, I haven't really been able to keep up. If you had a question, then please jump in and let me know. Yeah, I know what you mean, Sean. Sometimes the best lesson you can take from a photographer or any creative you love is to study their work. And for some people, it may be reading what they've written is going to be insightful and informative. Other people are really dynamic presenters. Is he still here? Jason, are you still in the room? Jason Boland, I saw a chat above as I'm scrolling through. He is a great example of, I don't know how much teaching Jason does, but some people face-to-face just have an X factor that I don't think I have. But each time that I've met Jason, it doesn't matter who's in the room, he has the attention. He's such a great storyteller. Some people have that dynamic ability to connect with people. He is still here. Nice to see you. And some just don't. They're a super, like one of my best friends growing up was an incredibly talented artist, but just incredibly socially awkward and could never do something like that. And it's rare to have someone like Jason who can really do both sides of it. If you haven't checked out his work, he's, I think, the original Black Rapid ambassador and the photographer for Hollywood movies. Google him and you'll see. And I believe he's going to be starting a channel soon, so look out for that. CAC2244, what do you say about people who say Sony E-mount is too small and dead on arrival? Just got a Sony A7 III. Well, I don't say anything. People talk. I don't really care. Well, how can you say it's dead on arrival? It's the highest selling mirrorless system there is right now, so it's not dead on arrival. You could argue that maybe it doesn't have the future proofing of other mounts, but Canon and Nikon DSLR or SLR mounts lasted for decades and decades, so it's not like it's the end of all times. You got an A7 III, go shoot it and enjoy it. David Young's asking, does anyone use AC/DC? Not the rock and roll band, the editing software. I don't, so I can't comment. Um, Doug Stewart, a very important, very complicated, very personal question. Where is your cat and can they visit? Well, Tyson is asleep actually in a funny place. It's a cat tower, but she very rarely sleeps there. I think it's because she's near Kate's desk. And she can't visit unless she chooses to, because if I try and pick her up, I'll end up bleeding. She's fierce like that. And I'm pretty sure Loki's still asleep on the bed. So maybe they'll visit a little bit later, but not right now. But they're both well. Questions. Thank you, Stephanie. I'm glad you noticed my backlighting. It's very simple, but it makes a difference, don't you think? Shout out, I'm not an ambassador, but I do have a close relationship with them, so this is not a review. Gravity Backdrops make all of these hand-painted backdrops that I use, and they're amazing. And the thing about them with all of the layers of paint is, as you change the light on them, the look of them does change significantly. So that's with a cooler light. Let me warm it back up. I think that looks better for this one. Yeah, and for what you're getting, they're really great value. I love them. Again, for those of you who've just joined the chat, Steph is art school dropout, so say hi. And I was just talking about Jason Boland. He's somewhere in the chat here. Oh, that's very kind. I'm just reading your comment. So if there's any, very astute viewers who are in the chat right now, a while back I shared a photo that was the very first photo I ever shared of on my business Facebook page, which was just a headshot of me. It was taken with the Leica S medium format camera, and that was actually a totally by chance meeting. To my shame, I was at a photo exhibition in Melbourne, I don't know when, 2012 or 13, something like that. And a guy was walking past, we chatted for a minute. I asked if he would mind taking a photo of me with this colossal camera that I didn't even really understand what it was. And I came to find out later that was Jason Boland, who's a Nikon ambassador and a Hollywood photographer and a Black Rapid ambassador and just an amazing guy. So, that was kind of cool that my first ever shot was taken with this ridiculous medium format camera by, such a famous portrait photographer. So, yeah, there you go. Small world, huh? Alex, hi from Chicago. Hi, you want to pass through? Sure, we can show that. So someone who's just asking, where are my cats? Can you see this? Will it focus on that? It's going to cover my face. Will it focus on that? There you go. That's where Tyson is. She's asleep in her little tower. Thanks. Aren't you sweet? Questions. Other than business potential, what attracted you to the USA? That's a great question. Well, I do love New York. For all the travel that I do, I had never lived abroad. So the idea of living abroad appealed to me. But the main thing that attracted me to the US was the business potential being a lot stronger than Australia, and that has absolutely panned out. There's pluses and minuses to both, and I will definitely can see myself returning to Australia at some point, but at where I am in my career at the moment, America, I think, is the right place to be. Someone asking, how do I like the Leica SL? It's a nice camera. The SL2 is really nicely refined over the original one. It's a lot of money. You can't get away from that. But as someone who does enjoy shooting with Leicas, I also brought my M10P out. It's a very nice compromise having all of the autofocus and stuff. But it depends what kind of a shooter you are and what your budget is as well. If you're just looking at results to cost, then it's hard to justify a Leica. If you value the process and you enjoy the particular process you get from Leica or an old film camera, then that's a totally different proposition. Oh, poor Loki. You guys got your wish. Kate has just gone and gotten Loki for me, so I can say hi to her on camera. Come here, darling. This is going to turn into the crazy wino and cat show. Hey? Hey, hey, hey. Come on, come on, come on. So she's been sleeping for hours. She's probably not thrilled to be here right now. Hey? Or you probably don't even know what the heck is going on. White Lion, are you excited about the 2 new Sony phones coming out with A9 autofocus? I have not heard of them, and to be honest, I don't believe that they will have A9 autofocus. the chip that's in that thing, I don't think could run in a phone on a phone's battery. So, and also I use an iPhone, so no, I'm not really. Am I a Macro PC guy? I'm a Mac guy. Doug Stewart, Kate, you're Doug's hero for bringing Loki. Are you okay? Oh, I just got hissed. Poor thing, she shouldn't. Ow, ow, and I got scratched. Ow. Her front nails are so long, and okay, so you're just going to sit there and groom, are you? All right, I think people will be happy. What'd you say?
Your new phone.
What?
That one. I never ordered.
Oh, shut up. Hey. 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 Yeah, she's pissed off if you can see her tail. And she's gone. Okay, back to regular programming. Steph asking, are the cats tired of us? Well, they're sleeping a lot, so potentially.
How's Loki?
Loki is the star of the show, that's true. White Lion, just move close to both Adder Armour and B&H if you need an assistant. Well, they're not that close, so I guess you're, what, around 22nd Street or something in Manhattan? Marcus Hughes, what happened to Cider House? Nothing happened. Embarrassingly, he is sitting down there not getting a whole lot of use. I'm tossing up selling it as an all-in-one system or breaking it down for parts. If anyone's looking for an insane 256 gig 8K PC editing machine, let me know. Any other little questions? Favorite food? Steve, are you asking mine or Loki's? Loki's is tuna. Mine is probably tuna as well. Red Mango, do you have Twitter? Matt and Steph. Steph, do you use Twitter? In some respects, she's so much more with it than I am. In other ways, she's just as much of a grandma as I am grandpa, so I don't know if she has Twitter. I have it. I rarely use it or check it, to be honest, though, but it's _ Matt Granger, I'm pretty sure. Thomas says he has just emailed me again. Thank you, Thomas. And again, I really apologize for not getting back to you before. It's not that I didn't want to, I just didn't get it. I'm checking my email right now. That's how professional I am in the middle of the live. Let's see. Damn it. I haven't gotten it. I'm sorry. I don't know how we do this. Maybe send me, God, this is like a one-on-one chat in a group situation. Hit me up on Instagram. Leave me a comment on my last photo and then I'll get in touch with you there. Apologies about that. Skybear, thank you for asking. My table is my favorite thing in the studio. Shout out to Timberforge Woodworks in Jersey. Louis and the gang are such awesome guys. It was actually a viewer who was friends with them, put me in touch, and they make amazing custom furniture. So we chatted for a little while about what I wanted. Then they made this. It's a piece of American redwood. It's like 2 inches thick and it weighs a ton, or I don't know, several hundred pounds. Then it's got a custom glass insert. It's got my logo in the front, and all of the resin filling in the holes matches the color of the glass, and was all, all made bespoke. I absolutely love it. It's probably the most bougie thing we have, and it doesn't really look it. It doesn't look. You can't see by looking at it just how complex it is to make, but I actually have a video up on the channel where we went through that, so you can check that out. Nicely done, Catherine Zeta-Jones. The setup I have right now, there's very little space between the lights and the camera, and you have to go behind the camera because there's a cable running back to the computer, so it's like a maze of lasers to be able to get through, and Kate just walked back and back again. Any last questions? How long have we been live? 51 minutes. So let's go for an hour. So I'll go through till 8 p.m. So if you have some questions, let me know. Colin Cameron, restaurants still open for takeaway? They are at the moment, a lot of them, not all. Some have just shut down. Latest advice I've read based on the science and the testing they've been doing is that, I'm not an expert, please check your own sources, but the CDC, the last I read was that you can't catch the virus through the digestive tract. So as long as you are careful with, washing your hands with the packaging and the bags and stuff, if it's delivered to your house, you should be good. So what we do is we only order stuff that kind of is good to reheated, not something that will dry out if you do that. We have it delivered, we throw the packaging away, put it into our own bowls, put it in the microwave or the oven to get it up, to a safe temperature, and then we safely eat it. So yeah, whilst that option is still available, we want to keep supporting the restaurants that we like so they don't go out of business. And, we're mixing that up with home cooking. Will you repeat this chit chat again? Greek Drona FGG? Yes, I'm hoping to do a couple a week. Hopefully get into a process where it's one that's more structured, maybe take a look at your pictures or have a guest on, and one that's just a chit chat. Doug Stewart, what's a good flash to start with? I've done several videos on this where I talk through the features you want to look at. It's not so much about the brand, it's about what features you need and your budget. I've been using the Nissan Di-700s a lot lately. They offer a great balance of price and performance. You can use them off camera manually or on camera with full TTL, and they're good value, so you might want to check them out. Do you still use old digital gear? Check out my budgetography series. I have a D3000, a D700, and some other old stuff that we use specifically for that purpose. Sorry, just we're trying to catch up on it's good to see that there's conversations going on in the chat. You see people replying to each other and I don't really know what the hell's going on. This will be easier if I have an agenda to stick to, so when I get lost in the comments, I can just revert back to that. So we have 6 minutes, so I'm going to look for 1 or 2 more questions to answer here. And if you guys have a question for Steph, please leave her a comment below. And if you haven't, please do go over and like and follow their page. If you haven't seen the content they're putting out, it's really, really impressive, the production quality. They deserve to have more subscribers than me, but they're just getting up to 10,000. And it will help them to be able to go out to partners to collaborate with, to be able to say they have over 10,000, and I know it will be meaningful to them. So please go click through Art School Dropouts and throw them a like. You see how great she is on the channel. It's the least we can do, right? A white lion, I can't stop the chat. Is that a matter of fact? Well, that would mean this is going to be a several hour or potentially several day chat, so I don't know about that. fan. If you don't mind, I won't really go into that. I'm trying to do these chats to be kind of a nice diversion from all of the doom and gloom, but like everyone, we've been affected. I can stick around a little longer, George or Doug, whoever that was, if you guys like. When will the Z8 be released? I don't want to be that guy, but we've got a Nikon ambassador in the room. Ask Jason, when's the Z8 going to be released? I have no information. Nikon USA, much less Nikon Australia, have never really shared anything with me. I have no inside info and I don't follow the rumors, so I'm sorry, I have no idea. And if I did, which I don't, it would be under a non-disclosure agreement and I wouldn't be able to tell you anyway, but I don't, and I'm not under an agreement. So what are we teasing about? What are we teasing Matt about? Art school dropouts and Sky Bear. I don't know. Red Mango, thanks for going and subscribing to Steph. Very kind of you. Any last questions? What do you think about the Zeiss Distagon 28mm? I don't know if I've shot with that particular lens. I can say 28mm is an absolute favorite of mine. This is probably the only lens I'll buy this year, which is the, well, that's not true. I'm gonna buy some for the Sony system, assuming life goes back to normal. But this is the 28mm f2.8 Leica lens, which for walk around street photography, I just love. Not sponsored, I bought that and I love that focal length. In the bag there is a message, will you be getting the D6? I won't be getting the D6. I don't know, Jason might. He being doing on-set stuff, that speed must be helpful at times. I don't know, Jason, are you pretty much over to the mirrorless system now, or are you working across both? Do you think you'll be adding the D6 to your work kit once real life resumes again? Dion has a good point. Camera manufacturers probably don't even know when things are going to be released right now. I was actually wondering if it takes a bit of the pressure off that. At least 4 years ago, camera release cycles were timed around Photokina and the Olympics. And this year, both of them have been pushed back. So flagships, you know, maybe the fact that production lines are all pushed back as well takes a bit of pressure off them. Doug, we got to get you and Chelsea on a chat again. There needs to be more sass. Yeah, Chelsea's the best. She's so funny. And so is Tony. I think Chelsea's sass and humor probably is more widely known, but Tony's funny as hell as well. Yeah, I would love to. You know, it's so silly. I only see them very rarely, but them, like so many other people, like Steph and Tim, like Scott. Hi, Scott. You know, you see these names and you think, oh, I haven't left the house in a week. Oh my God, I wish I could go to Chicago and hang out with Scott, or go to Jersey and hang out with Steph, or go to Connecticut and hang out with Tony and Chelsea and get all nostalgic about it. I would love to do some more stuff with them. Chelsea is funny as hell. Scott picked up a GH5. Cool. Will that last great Micro Four Thirds camera for video? I don't know. What do you think? John's in the room as well. What do you think about the GH5? Is that the last great Micro Four Thirds for video? Probably not, because there's others coming, like Sharp are doing an 8K Micro Four Thirds camera, and there's some other ones in the works. By the way, I hope you're doing well, Scott. I know you're a new father. It must be a crazy time already, without now, I assume, working from home and everything as well. So I hope you, your wife and your baby are all well. Is that the Jonathan Lopez in the chat? Oh my goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been graced by a legend. I hope that is the right Jonathan. Nice to see you, buddy. If that's the right Jonathan Lopez, that's the Jonathan Lopez who had joined the team this year and has been doing a lot of the video editing that you guys have seen and is doing a great job. So thank you. Are you going to come up, Loki? Loki's just down there and showing signs that she's interested in jumping up on my desk. So you may see her butt as she jumps up on the desk in just a second. Jose, are you enjoying the Leica M10P? Yes. It's in terms of if I'm just shooting for me, going out to shoot whatever, it's my most enjoyed camera. And this combo, actually, the M10P and the 28mm 2.8, you know, if I had the budget for the 28mm f1.4, I might get that, but for me, the 2.8 is fine. I love it. It's an indulgence in the same way buying a car or a this or a that would be. Hey, Loki. But yeah, there's just nothing I would rather have in my hand and be shooting with. You're gonna come actually say hi? She's funny. She'll walk around and then like prod me and take 3 or 4 attempts before she'll come and then fall asleep on my chest. That's just her style. Am I using a green screen? No, I'm not. I'm using a red screen. This is a hand-painted backdrop from Gravity Backgrounds, and I've got a little light on it, but it's all real. Here's my light. It's a nice one, right? It's actually just stuck up on the wall behind me in my apartment with 2 lights in front of me and then 1 little backlight behind my chair. It's a nice setup. Hey, Loki, you gonna come say hi? Jonathan says hi. You know, one of the reasons that apart from the great work and humor and friendship and ... one of the reasons I keep Jonathan around is the cats both really seem to like him. So I'm sure Loki says hi back, Jonathan. Thanks for stopping in. Oh, and when are you going to send me that interview? I want to get it done. See what kind of a boss I am? Yeah, Sunday night. How do I find eye detect on Sony? Do you use it more than your D850? The eye detect is really good, and there are times where I find it really useful that even 6 months ago I wouldn't use it. But no, I still use my D850 the most. But I only bought the A7R4 in, I think it was December. So we'll see how things pan out. And I don't own a Z6 or 7, so their latest firmware really improved things as well. So let's see. The D850 to me, though, is still probably the greatest DSLR that I've ever used. And I'll probably keep using the 2 that I have until they fall into pieces in my hand. Someone said, Edge Benel, hi Matt, hi. Let's see, nice looking background. So are we drying up on questions? Maybe that's about time to wrap it. What do you guys think? Leave me a comment. Should we wrap it up now or keep going for a little while? And if we're going to keep going, you better hit me with a question or something. Otherwise, I'm just sitting here waiting for dinner. What does this mean? Eric, if I was going to upgrade from the D810 to the D850, is there a timeline you think might be optimal? I don't really know what you mean by that. Could you clarify for me? We're getting the same questions that we had an hour ago. If you watch this again, Mark, I've already been through the whole streaming setup, so I won't go over it now. All right, I'm going to give it 5 to 10 minutes and then we'll wrap it. That way, those of you who want to go can go, and then those of you who want it to keep running, we can just have another 5 minutes. Dynamic LED, I have no idea about that one. Sorry, Patrick. John wants me to pet the toad, which I'm sure to him is some kind of euphemism, but there you go. My little money toad. 101, where did you get your Hasselblad from? I bought this from, how do you say the name? Kadoya? I can't remember the name now. A used camera store in Ginza, Tokyo, with thanks and advice from Bellamy Hunt in Tokyo. Kadoya, I think it is. They're kind of a bougie store, but this was on a really good price, and I just love it. You would think it was 2 years old. It's almost mint. I've even taken it to halfway around the world. I think I took it to Peru with you, if I remember rightly, John. And it still looks great, so that's a nice thing. Everyone ask Steph a question, because I'm overwhelmed by this number of questions. Joseph does a thing. Do you have any children? Nope, just 2 cats and a wife, and very happy with the situation. Thanks. What's the fancy strap on your Leica? Is it comfortable? First part of the question, it's a rock and roll strap. Don't worry, you don't have to be cool to use one, thankfully. And is it comfortable? Yes. Beyond looking fancy, which I agree it does, it may be for a traditional camera strap that you put over your head or over your neck and shoulder. I tend to wear it like that. For a big camera, I would still use my Black Rapids, especially if I'm using 2. But it's kind of funny because the way this is all leather links, it kind of acts like a natural suspension, if for want of a better word. It's really, really comfortable. I love them. Rock and roll straps. You can check them out. Daniel wants to know, Steph, what is your favorite type of modeling? I'm sure it's whichever she's doing with me, right? Right? I think Matt will decide travel plans after the pandemic. I don't know what that question was, but I already have a whole list of travel plans. And Steph, after our time in Vegas, the time we made the natural light course, I'm already working on 2 or 3 different potential places we can travel once, of course, everything is safe and sound and everything's back to normal. I've got such a long list of things to do, so it should be good. And I want to, as I said, do something towards the end of this year if everything's safe, and be able to bring everyone's partners along as well. So make sure Timmy has time in his diary in December. Last couple. Yes, Cinderella. Check out Rock and Roll Straps. They're a really nice team. I'm pretty sure are they in Italy? They're somewhere in that part of Europe. Really nice team, really great products. I've got 4 or 5 from them, and it's all beautifully made. HBHK77, are you sponsored by Black Rapid? I am technically an ambassador for them. There's been a lot of change at Black Rapid over the last year, and the person I was dealing with actually isn't there anymore, but I'm an ambassador for them. That said, I do get straps from them, and I give straps to my tour guests. I have in a couple of tours in the past, but it's not a financial paid thing, and it was after probably 3 years of talking and a decade of me using and loving their straps, thanks to Jason most likely for first introducing me, that we got to that point. Dion, do a Great American Road Trip series. As you're repairing your Camaro, by the way, I should say, if we live somewhere in the States where we can justify having a car, my wife and I already agreed I'm going to buy an old, already restored, amazing American muscle car as our daily drive, because why not? I thought that would be so interesting as well, right? And I did the southern half of Route 66 with my father right around this time last year. It was actually in early May, late April, early May. And I did a video on the road trip with that, and surprisingly it got very little interest. I was kind of disappointed because I would love to do more of that kind of thing, but you need to have some eyes on it, right? I think that might be about it. So thank you all for joining. Thank you, Steph, for stopping by. I'm glad you could join us. Hope you guys are well. I'll text you after. I'm glad you got the message, though. John, everyone else, thank you. And get in touch, the people that were giving suggestions about how we can improve things in future. I really appreciate the input. Thomas, if you don't hear back from me, it's only because I haven't gotten your message, and I apologize. You don't use Instagram, so you're going to leave a comment. Okay, great. Thank you very much. Jonathan Lopez, I was about to sign off, but here's a question. Get a 1965 Shelby Mustang. Now, are you saying that just because you've seen Gone in 60 Seconds, or do you actually know anything about cars? As cool as Eleanor is, I don't think that's worth the money. It's like buying a stainless steel Daytona right now. They're so overpriced, I don't think there's really the value there. Although the early Mustangs are cool, if I was going to go that route and go something really popularist, I'd probably go for like a 69 Corvette or something like that. Anyway, I think that will do it. It's gone from gray and cloudy outside to dark, which is probably means that it's time for us to have some dinner. Hope you guys have a great end to the weekend. And I'll schedule another one of these for sometime early in the new week. Stay tuned. We will have the interview with the Vietnamese-based photographer that I mentioned coming live soon on the channel. And thank you all for stopping in. I hope you're doing well at this difficult time. Cheers, guys. Bye. End the stream.